Good morning, everybody. Let's do a programming video. Alright, so we have a 2011 Ford Edge here, and the customer brought it to me. They just want me to do a update on the APIM for a issue they're having that they believe software is going to fix it. I've not diagnosed the car. They don't want me to diagnose the car. Just update the APIM. It has apparently a random battery drain. Like, they can crank it day after day. Most days it's fine. Every now and then, dead battery. And they found a TSB for the APIM causing a battery drain issue. So they want me to update it. They actually have two of these vehicles. They brought the other one the other day, and I kind of fumbled my way through that one. I had some help from Cody, and kind of it was a little strange. I'm real big into, if you're going to be doing programming, you need to read service information. Almost always, service information will tell you exactly what you need to do, how to do it. But in this case, service information is actually a little outdated. And that's where I run into some issues and fumbled my way through it. So I figured, since they brought me the second one to do, this would be a good video to do and kind of show you the process to update these old APIMs, because they're a little different. So some things you're going to need: a J-box, a USB cable with, I believe they call this a mini end. I'm not real sure. It's not the micro, it's not a C, it's a mini, I believe. I find this is going to be easier than the Ford special tool, that is where you take this out and unplug the cable in here, and you have a little jumper cable that basically connects this USB cable in here to a normal USB or another USB cable like this. So I'm going to show you how to do it with just this USB cable. Now, you do want to have a high quality one. You don't want a cheap one, because this is going to be transferring data. You're also going to need a thumb drive. Ford says it needs to be 16 gigabytes. This one's just happens to be a 64 gigabyte, and it needs to be formatted to exFAT. Now I'll show you that. And as you can see, I've kind of got the dash took apart because the APIM is actually on the back of this screen right here. So right there. So let's get into this. So just quickly, here's the TSB that they had found, 13-6-18. This come out in 2013, so it's pretty old. I really think this has already been updated past this version, but they still want me to go through with this. So this basically tells you to program the APIM using the PTS website. It's kind of not there anymore. Like, it is, but there's a different way of doing it. You don't do it through Oasis. You don't do it through the PTS website anymore, really. And that's kind of where I ran into some issues. I also went to the actual programming page on how you're actually supposed to program this. And this is the little USB adapter to connect a USB to the cable in the console here. And then it says there's two procedures, basically a USB flash and then a flash through software through the J-box basically. So you see how this says Oasis and Sync. Like, it's not going to be like this anymore. Well, it might still be there, but I don't. It's just different. We'll get into that. So this video is really for people that's already doing some forward programming, has kind of a general idea about how to do forward programming using forward software and stuff. If you're not doing forward programming, chances are you're not going to be doing this job. But yeah, so I'm just using the FJDS version. So if you're already doing forward programming, you know you're going to be clicking on the toolbox up here. You're going to go to module programming. In most cases, you're going to be doing a PMI, and you're going to run through the PMI function. If you're doing a software update, you're going to be doing module reprogramming. And you can see we have APIM listed right here. But if we double click this, it's going to tell us to turn the ignition on. We're going to hit the check mark down here. And it's going to say, you know, checking VIN and whatnot. This is all normal stuff. But right here, it's going to tell you that this has to be done through Oasis. Well, I don't really know how to get into Oasis. I don't do that much in-depth forward programming, but I thought Oasis was the dealer-only website. So reached out to some people, and Cody at Cody's AutoDiagnostics told me that APIM programming has moved into FRDS software. So let's go to that. All right, so we have FRDS pulled up here, and got my pass-through selected here, so we're just going to hit OK, and we're going to tell it to read the VIN. I do have my voltage maintainer hooked up to the car. The key is on, so it's got the VIN pulled here. We're going to hit go. And it's going to get the vehicle information. So right here it's going to pop up this and tell us only sync modules are supported by FDRS. And that is exactly what we're wanting to update anyway. So right there it is. And you can see down here we got 13.8 volts. That's our maintainer hooked up. So we're going to hit continue. So we're going to want to do the software update. You can do a PMI and you can also do a configuration, but we're wanting to do the update. So we're going to click download to get the files that we need and hit run. And this is a little confusing because this is not what it says in service information. Right here it says from the Oasis tab, which we don't have, we have FRDS, select the sync button, but I mean we can figure that out. There are 3 available options for programming: standard, custom, and module replacement. Well, we have an update, so this is the first thing that doesn't kind of line up with things, but standard, this looks like that would be update. Custom, that looks like that configuration thing, and then the PMI, which we're not doing. After selecting one of the 3 options, it says click read APIM. Well, we don't have that, so this is really where it starts getting really different. And then it says select program APIM. Well, yeah, none of that really matched up. And then it says update download to either scan tool or USB flash drive. The APIM is programmed. Not very helpful here. So we're not doing a touchscreen calibration, and we're not doing a PMI, so this is what I picked. I believe this is what we're needing. Force flash the image, so we're going to hit select, and then of course it's talking about having a maintainer on, which we do. Turn the ignition on, engine off, of course. So now it's I guess reading the APIM, and my screen is black, so that's probably normal. This is going to basically tell us what we can update to. It's already pre-selected what we need to do based off the vehicle. So we're going to hit OK. So right now it's doing the programming through the DLC. There's more that we're going to have to do in a minute, but this is kind of the first thing that it's going to do. So you can probably hear that the blower fan come on. It's one reason why you want a voltage maintainer, because things are going to come on, go off, do all kinds of crazy stuff. And I don't know why my screen keeps flipping out trying to autofocus. So sorry about that. Alright, so that's step 1 complete. Now it's going to tell us we need the sync driver installation. This is something that tripped me up also, because it says you may first need to log in to PTS to download the driver. So I clicked on this and it wants me to log in because there's an error. So you click log in. Access denied. Well, thanks, Ford. Yeah. So PTS login. Okay, let's go to that. Oh, this is the Ford dealer login. I'm not with any of this stuff. So yeah, I can't do that either. Thanks, Ford. So I was left here with, okay, I don't have the driver for my computer, and Ford's not going to give it to me because their thing is broken, apparently. So I did a Google search and I actually found out it's called an S-boot driver, but let's do Ford sync driver is what I had checked, and I found this diag.net post by Keith Perkins. Oh boy, go back up here. By Keith Perkins. He's got the L1 Automotive Training channel, and he was having basically the same issue. This was over a year ago, posted a year ago, August 18th of 2022. That's 2 years ago almost. And this is still a problem. But luckily, there was this guy, Chris, that works for Opus. He posted the actual boot driver, and this is me telling him thanks because it works. And yeah, so I installed the boot driver, and now we can continue with this. So let's hit continue, and this is where it's going to tell us to have a USB cable plugged into the center console port, and I don't have that. So I did the next best thing. I have this cable, and that's why I have the APIM pulled out, because I can unplug that cable. I can take my cable, and it just barely fits in there. It's like a perfect fit. And then I can plug this end into my laptop. There we go. And we can now click OK. And now it's actually going to run through a programming through the USB cable into the APIM. You can see we're still a black screen. It did come back on after the car booted back up, but yeah, so that's a little bit of a hack if you don't have the little adapter to do this end, because you'd have to pull this completely out, get to the cable that's in there, and it's going to be a weird connection, kind of pretty much this exact cable right here. So it would be an adapter to adapt this over to a USB cable that you can plug into your laptop. So I just go straight to the source. So right now it's running the sboot, and like I said, this is called an sboot driver. So sboot driver setup. So we're going to let this run through and do its thing now. All right, I had to turn the video off and make some phone calls, but either way, here we go. It is doing its downloading process. Sometimes, like with this cable situation, like it's frustrating. It took me actually like 3 or 4 times to actually get it to connect and go. It's just how it is sometimes, I guess. Okay, so that is process number 2. Now we need a USB drive, and see, this is where it says 16 gigabytes exFAT. So this has already been formatted, but we'll reformat it anyway. So I'm just going to plug it into the computer here, and this is actually the files that it's probably going to want, but we're going to right click on the drive here. We're just going to tell it to format, and then this is where you'd want to pick exFAT, and we're going to hit start, hit OK, format complete, and we can close that out. So now we can just hit OK on this, and it's going to ask us where we want this, and we're going to select our thumb drive and click OK. So now it's going to put the files on the thumb drive for us. Alright, so now it's telling us we need to take our thumb drive and plug it into the sync port of the vehicle. So let's get that unplugged out of there, and we need to unplug our cable out of here, plug the factory cable back in. Okay. And we're going to plug the thumb drive into the port down here and hit OK. So now it's going to basically reboot things and going to load this into that. So telling us it's rebooting. It's finally starting to reboot. And now it is doing the update from the thumb drive. This is still doing that whole thing. I'm sure this is probably processing or doing something. And now it says we're establishing communications, and it's checking the software updates. And now it's configuring the module. Alright, so now it's going to say we can calibrate the touchscreen once it boots. I think it's probably going to do, yep, this again. And then once it finishes this, we'll pull the thumb drive out. I don't really know when exactly you're supposed to pull the thumb drive out, because nothing really tells you, hey, pull the thumb drive out now. So I just kind of wait until I get to a point to where I can safely know I can pull the thumb drive out, and it's not going to be trying to read it or do something. And most of the time that's going to be like if it lets me turn the key off or something like that. which is, we're still coming up with a blank screen here for some reason. The other day, the other one come up with the calibration screen. So I'm not real sure. It's probably broke. Oh no, I have to hit OK. So now we get the touch screen calibration, and the other one wouldn't actually go through correctly. It says carefully press, and it's gone off. And it says complete. I didn't even touch it, but it's okay because it's actually going to be fine. See, now we can turn the ignition off, and now I know it's safe to pull that out. You can probably hear the radio static. So let's pull the key out. I can get the door to shut. And we're going to hit OK on that. And it says we're done, basically. And this is going to basically turn off. Now, as you can see, our update bar has went away because now it knows it's up to date. So, radio's off. Let's open the door. Let's crank the car. And there we go. Oh. Let me turn that volume down a little bit. So that's pretty much it. It does seem like it's taking it a little bit of extra time to actually boot all the way up, but the other one done some weird stuff too. Like I said, when I was trying to do the touchscreen calibration thing, it was freaking out. And I ended up, after cycling the key, I think twice, everything booted up fine. So let's try that again. We'll turn this off because that's obviously not correct. Let's open and shut the door. We're gonna let everything power down for a few minutes, and then we'll try to boot it back up. By the way, if you're wondering how long this takes, you see we're at 9:55 now, and basically I just cut the key off and pause the video or stop the video, and I thought, well, maybe y'all want to know how long this takes, so I'll look back and see what time it was that we started. And I've been in this vehicle constantly doing things, letting it do its thing, so we'll see what the start time was. Alright, so let's see if it's going to act right and boot completely this time. Yep, it does. See how it was doing that weird glitch stuff? The other one did that the first time it booted too. It's real weird, but it's on, it's working. Kind of a little frustrating process to go through to fully update one of these things. So I thought I'd make this video. I know it's probably boring as hell, but some days this is what you have to do. And like I say, I don't even know if this is going to fix the car. They don't want me to look at it. They don't want me to check it. They say program it, and we'll see if it fixes it or not. So we'll let them do what they want. So thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you guys later.